Arizona's Secretary of State is asking the state attorney general to pursue a criminal investigation into Donald Trump and his allies in regard to their attempts to influence the 2020 election in their state. Now, Katie Hobbs said some of the communications involve clear efforts to induce supervisors to refuse to comply with their duties, which could violate Arizona law. Katie Hobbs is the Arizona Secretary of State. Yes, she is a Democrat. The state's attorney general is a Republican, so do what you will with that information. But honestly, their political affiliations are irrelevant when you look at the evidence that's been provided in regard to the Trump campaign's attempts to influence the election. As you said just last week, Katie Hobbs says, fair elections are the cornerstone of our republic, and they start with rational laws that protect both the right to vote and the accuracy of the results. Hobbs wrote in her letter to Brnovich seeking an investigation. Arizona law protects election officials from those who would seek to interfere with their sacred duties to ascertain and certify the will of the voters. Now, she cited text messages and voicemails from the White House and Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and the Arizona Republican Party chair, Kelly Ward, to the Republican members of the Board of Supervisors as her reasoning for why there should be a criminal investigation into this. There were two separate attempts, by the way, by Trump to reach Republican Supervisor Clint Hickman in the weeks after the election as the president's allies sought to alter the election results. At the time, Hickman was chairman of the Board of Supervisors, the elected body that oversees elections in the state's most populous county. Now, Hickman received the first call from the White House switchboard on December 31st, while he was out celebrating the coming New Year with his wife and friends. He let that go to voicemail, and then a second call came on the night of January 3rd. Hickman sought to avoid talking to the president because of ongoing litigation and let the call go to voicemail. And then you have Rudy Giuliani getting involved as well, and I'll give you those details in just a minute. But Cenk, thoughts?
You know, the hilarious part of this is that the Republicans are like, there's been problems with the election and fraud and potential interference by Hugo Chavez. He probably got out of his grave and came over here and interfered. And Trump's latest theory is the Italians did it.
Obviously.
Okay, interesting theory, right? But this is actually direct, illegal election interference. Someone involved in an election can't call the people counting the votes and apply pressure to them. That's ridiculous. Of course they can't do that. That's illegal. So
since they attempted election meddling, but the election meddling didn't work, does that mean that just talking about this is Election-gate? Should we stop talking about it?
Election-gate. Okay, but look, her request, in all seriousness, is perfectly reasonable. If Joe Biden was going around calling election officials saying, you better change the vote, there's been problems and you could have political issues and all the different threats, intimidations, and also rewards that they were thinking of doing, you'll be a hero and be celebrated in Republican circles, wink, wink, if you do the things that we want. I would say, that's terrible. Of course Joe Biden shouldn't do, that's crazy. No way, right? Trump does it, of course, all the Republicans are like, election interference is awesome. Election-gate or whatever.
No, totally.
Okay, right.
No, so now let's move on to Rudy Giuliani, who embarrassed himself repeatedly following the 2020 election and all these court battles where judges were like, bro, do you have any evidence? No, I don't, I'm just wasting your time. That's what Rudy Giuliani did several times. Now, apparently Giuliani had made calls to the supervisors before and after his November 30th meeting in Phoenix about the election committee with a handful of GOP state lawmakers. So he had said, quote, if you get a chance, this is in a text message that was uncovered by Arizona Republic. If you get a chance, would you please give me a call? I have a few things I'd like to talk over with you. Maybe we can get this thing fixed up. I really think it's a shame that Republicans sort of are both in this kind of situation. And I think there may be a nice way to resolve this for everybody. And then when it comes to the Arizona Republican Party chair, Kelly Ward, she attempted to pressure supervisors to stop the counting, to delay certifying the results, and to look into whether voting software added votes for Democrats. Her efforts continued as Trump's legal challenges fell short across the country. When those efforts did not succeed, though, through various texts, she said supervisors were un-American and were playing for the wrong team. So there was all this pressure for officials to essentially go against the will of the people and just give Trump and his campaign the results that they wanted, even though he lost that state. He lost the state of Arizona fair and square.
Yeah, so Kelly Ward's saying, hey, we could really support you over the next 4 years. I'm heading up the Republican Party in this state, or you're un-American. Gee, I wonder if that's interfering with an election and creating incentives and disincentives, carrots and sticks, etc. And you say, hey, Cenk, how do you know that Trump was going to pressure this election official in Arizona? He had to leave voicemails, he didn't get through to him. First of all, I'm sure that he was just calling him randomly. He's like, I'm thinking of calling the dog catcher in Minnesota or maybe the election official in Arizona in a really tight race that I'm involved in, okay? So first of all, of course he was calling to interfere and meddle, but it's not just that. Remember, he actually did reach the election officials in Georgia and they recorded the call. We heard the call, and in the call, he 100% interferes with the election, meddles with it, and puts tremendous pressure to change the results. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why Donald Trump should be in jail. But in this case, it's just a matter of they're asking, hey, can we follow Arizona law? Is that possible? Because I thought that the Republicans were a party of law and order, but it seems like whenever the law is applied to them, they despise it. Whether they're beating up cops and killing folks in the Capitol riots, or in this case where they're like, well, we don't like election law when we lose. We just want to be able to interfere and switch the results. And you guys keep insisting on a democracy. That's it. Defund the cops. Or whatever it is that they're pushing for here. But here the Democrats are pushing for people to actually apply the law, and that would be a nice change of pace in America. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.